Why is Alex Garland talking about the classic college football rivalry between Oregon and Oregon
That's not
State?
what he's talking about, Bertie. Damn it! Nor is he talking about Iron Man v Captain America. It's a whole different thing.
Damn it!
What's going on, guys and gals? Welcome to Goodwill Hunting. It's your boy Brad. The Brett Man's right over there. Today we're going to be discussing the new movie Civil War. It came out last Friday by Alex Garland, his fourth flick. A lot of people have been talking about it over the weekend, Bertie, as it did really well at the box office first weekend. A lot of people went out and saw it. You know, I'm sure it's quite divisive overall. Bertie, what do you think, man?
I am so looking forward to talking about this. So let's not waste any more time, Brad. Of course, this is a spoiler-free review. Brad, what did you think about this movie?
Yeah, first off, it's about, basically a faction. Ironically enough, it's about a faction of individuals from California and Texas combining together to, kind of take over the government, I guess. Classic Civil War shit. I don't know if I would have picked those two states, but that's actually one of the things that I would have liked that I liked about it, though, is that the movie did a really good job of staying. It's not a political movie, really. I mean, it is. It's an anti-war movie, and to an extent, that is a political movie. But it doesn't take sides. It stays very down the middle as far as like political sides, left and right, and all that stuff. And I think no matter which side you fall on, you're going to be able to watch the movie and get the message that it's trying to convey. That it is an anti-war film. And I think part of the reason they did pick those two states to be that is because Texas is kind of like a Republican state. California is definitely a Democratic state.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't really like see them two actually connecting and getting together, but it's like, I think that's the message. It's like we're not trying to pick on any one individual side here. We're trying to put two together.
I think you're absolutely right. It definitely does do a good job, kind of like tiptoeing on the line, but not crossing the line. And that's why I really like, because I would have not liked this movie if it did cross over that line. It just kind of stayed neutral, like you perfectly said. But man, I'm telling you, though, the biggest takeaway I get from this, and this is actually scary to me, if we're not careful as a society, this movie could become a reality. And I know technically by standards, this is not a horror film, but this easily to me could be considered a horror film for that reason.
Yeah, it is very scary and tense for that reason. A lot of anxiety here. Now, I think a lot of people, I said, it might not be what you're looking for. And I said it in the TikTok too. If you just saw the trailer, for somebody who just saw the trailer and you went out and you looked at it, and you're like, oh man, this thing looks super tense. It's going to be, edge of your seat tension the entire time, because of the scene with Jesse Plemons that's in the trailer. It's super tense.
Oh, dude, I'm going to get to that scene here in a minute.
That's not what the whole movie's like. The whole movie's not like that. It's really a character-driven movie of a group of individuals. These are photographic journalism, I think is the name. So either way, they're the photographers photographing aspects of the war. They're on both sides. They don't care. They're just, they're remaining neutral. And they're just basically documenting everything going on in the war. Follows this crew as they kind of travel across the United States to a different location. And I think, again, it does a good job with them being your main characters, which Kirsten Dunst was the lead here. She was great. I haven't seen her in a while. But I thought she was a big standout in this movie, as was the other gal, Bertie. You probably have her name, but I don't have her.
That's what I was pulling up because I want to make sure she gets her roses. It's Callie Spaney. And she's 25 years old, dude. And I'll tell you this, she's got a bright future ahead of her. I thought she was I would consider her in this movie very underrated because, like you said, Kristen Dunst was the big standout in this movie.
Absolutely. And of course, I mentioned, I guess, Jesse Plemons, the scene from the trailer.
Yeah.
You get to see the full. This was one of the very few scenes of like just real, like super, like tense.
Dude, my theater was so quiet. Like we were just like,
yeah, and it wasn't even the sequence alone was only, I don't know, he was only in the movie for a few minutes during the sequence,
like 5 minutes.
But he stole the show in those few minutes that he was in. As always, I've been saying the guy's a fucking stud, Bertie. He's gonna end up tripping up and getting an Oscar one of these days, for sure. It's not going to be here because his role is too small, but down the road it's going to happen. But he's, that freaking great scene. There's a couple other pockets of tension building scenes kind of like that throughout the action. There's not a lot of action in this thing. If you're expecting that, you're not going to find it. It's a little bit at the end. There's a little bit of pocket, a couple pockets here and there, but there's not a lot in there. It's really a character-driven sturdy bird.
Sturdy birdie, dude.
Sturdy birdie. I like that. That's your name. It's a character-driven flick, though, Bertie.
No, dude, absolutely it is. And just man, yeah, Jesse Plemons is at a point now where he can't do no wrong. You could give the guy 2 minutes, he's gonna steal your 2 hour movie. Like that's pretty much how I felt he did in Civil War. He is definitely awesome in this. Again, for the short 5 minutes that he's in. But yeah, the third act of this movie, it's just that is probably where most, like you said, Brad, most of your action's gonna be. It is definitely story driven, but it is a very intriguing story, and they do such a good job developing these characters for you to care about the story that they're telling, all the way up to the very end. And I want to throw out real quickly our boy Nick Offerman as the president of the United States. Freaking Rick Swanson, baby. President of the United States. That's who we need as president.
Maybe not this guy, but
Yeah, yeah, not this guy
maybe just Nick
necessarily, but the
Offerman
guy from
himself.
Parks and Rec,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Oh yeah, for sure. We'd have all the bacon. Well, he would hoard all the bacon is what he would do, and the egg. But
Yes, please.
he was good though. I thought overall the cast was good. Now, if this is something, if you're familiar with A24, you're familiar with Alex Garland's filmography, that's what you're going to get. It's not going to be. It's not like they're stepping too far. It's the high. I think this is the highest budget A24 film that's ever came out. But they're not really stepping too far out of the lines of what they normally do. It's still very much an A24 movie. It's very much an Alex Garland film. To me personally, I think this is way better than Men. That one did feel like it was pushing a lot of political agendas and stuff like this, and I think he did a good job with this because I thought he probably would with this too, given the nature of it. And again, like I said, he didn't. But this was better than Men. It's not quite to the level of Ex Machina. It's probably in line with Annihilation, if I had to put it into perspective that way. But overall, very solid filmography. He's a fantastic director. I thought this thing in general was just really well directed. Something that's so sensitive and so, so tense that he was able to kind of get a good story in there and not, piss a lot of people off. I think that's really good. And but Birdie, like I said, when they do crank up the suspense and the tension, though, it's up there, man.
Oh yeah, dude. And this is going to be actually my last point. That's actually a nice segue right there. I would probably put this movie, honestly, in my top 10 best theater experiences of all time. Because us in the crowd, like also, again, your theater experience also helps with the crowd of like who you go see the movie with in that theater. Sure. We were all just on the edge of our seat. And when a gunshot goes off, we all like, dude, it's so much fun. Like, even though technically this movie is not fun to watch because it definitely goes into dark places, but as a theater experience, I easily put this in my top 10. I think I had such a great time with this movie, and I definitely think this is actually going to be known as one of the most important movies of our time in the 2020s.
Could be, man. I think, in general, I expected it to give me a little bit more anxiety than it did at the end of the day. And I know for a lot of people, they're having a different experience. They walk through it and they're anxious the whole time and stuff. For me, it felt a little unrealistic at times. It felt like, just like I said, the whole California, Texas thing, just from the get go, I was like, I don't really see that happening. It would be, I think there's a more realistic aligning of the states there that you could have done to make it feel more realistic and more anxiety inducing, I think. But again, I think they did that for a very specific reason. But I do think, there's a couple scenes throughout that was, were a little bit goofy. I know they're probably cutting in there to maybe cut the tension a little bit, but to me, it just kind of reduced the realism of it. So it didn't really have me in that state of anxiety the whole time. But there were a few scenes where I did really feel it. But yeah, I did think it would be a little bit more. But overall, though, I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the movie a lot. I enjoyed all the characters were good. The music was good. Everything, all that stuff. Cinematography, of course, was good too. A lot of good stuff there.
All right. What would you give this bad boy?
I'd give it a 4 out of 5. It's very solid 4 out of 5.
Give it a good classic fear. But Brad, I'm actually going to give this right now. I could see this going down later on as the year progresses, but right now I'm giving this sucker a 4.5 out of 5. And right now, as of we're shooting this review, my number one movie of 2024. Even though we're getting ready to hit some of the heavyweight hitters. That's like true. Twisters and Beetlejuice and all that. But right now, Civil War, congratulations. You're number one, my friend. Guys, I need to ask you all, what did you all think about Civil War? Did you all really enjoy this movie? Did you have a good theater experience? Do you think this is the number one movie so far in 2024? Or do you have a lot of problems with this movie? Respectfully, and without using politics, please let us know in that comment section down below. Let's get that discussion rolling.
And if you want to help us find the good reels, all the links to our socials are right down there in the description. Go check them out, and you can find us.
Absolutely. Until then, I'm going to go watch highlights of the Civil War rivalry between Oregon and Oregon State.
Damn it.